Directors of the Round Virgin Turnpike Authority will now come to order. First item on the agenda is public comment. Anyone? Yes, ma'am?
Good morning.
Good morning. If you could just state your name and welcome. And is that sun in your eyes? Can we get that out of the lady's eyes?
Yeah, it does. My name is Catherine Pratt, and when I was waiting for 2 hours to see somebody the other day, I saw that this was posted, and that we had a meeting and that there would be public comment. So I'm really just offering some public comment on the polling operations. I noticed in the meetings, the minutes of the meeting, that it was stated that the transition to the new back office system is going much more smoothly. So I just wanted to offer some comments about that, because as a customer, I'm not really experiencing this. And so I feel like in some ways I'm speaking for myself, but I think I'm also, speaking for about the 25 people I sat in line with who were pretty angry about what's happening totally. I think the primary thing I wanted to express was the lack of communication with the customers, because I think that's a key piece of what's happening. I know in my own situation, prior to the transition to the, I guess it's called the back office, I was getting regular emails if I had a low balance, and then I was also getting paper statements. So I had the information that if my balance was getting low, I could respond. Since October of 2024, apparently those emails stopped, paper statements stopped. So a lot of us really didn't know what was happening. I read a lot of local papers, so I didn't see anything about a new system coming in place, so I wasn't checking my online account. And I think for a lot of the people in the line with me, we finally found out that the invoices. The gentleman next to me had an invoice with 15 violations on it, and he was pretty upset. And I don't blame him, I had about 15. Now I do have to say, besides the fact that it was, I originally called, and besides the fact that it was an hour wait, the person that I talked to was extremely professional, extremely informed, and very kind. And I imagine she probably had a lot of angry calls before my call. And so I reciprocated on that and was very patient, trying to understand what was happening. And she suggested that I put money on the account because my account had been drained, plus I got the invoice. But when I went to try to put money on the account, I couldn't. They wouldn't accept my credit card that I always used in the past. So it sounds like, even though this has been going on for 6 months, that there's still a lot that's not functioning with the tolls. And I actually work in social service in Newport, and my other concern is about people that I work with on the margins, the elderly, people who are struggling economically, and how they're being caught up in this as well. When I got here and was talking to some staff members, again, everybody in there was very kind and very, very patient and very professional. And that was amazing to me because I know that they're not, that a lot of people are angry. But when I asked about when the communication was going to restart, when we would get emails again about low balances, when we would get paper statements, they said there's no plan for that, the people I talked to in the office. And that one gentleman who I talked to about the credit card issue said, he asked me what browser I used. I said Firefox, and he said, I don't think you could use Firefox and reload, which that's a pretty popular browser. So that was a concern of mine as well. So I'll have to come over and bring cash and then just, I don't know, I guess, watch the account and make sure it doesn't go below the level. So that's kind of my comment. I think the big question that I have this morning is when will the communication with the customer be restarted with the emails, with the statements. I have an elderly person in my house, so those paper statements are helpful to that person. So those are sort of some of my comments. So,
Per-
thank you for listening.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for your comments. And believe me, everything you're saying is going to be addressed. I'm going to have our executive director speak first to some of the comments that you made, and then she will ask others to respond to as well.
The only other thing I'll say is I noticed in the minutes as well that there is a contract that you've awarded to look at the customer service tolling. So I think that was the other reason that prompted me to come, is to say, okay, if this is happening and they recognize it's a problem and there's a contract being awarded, that these comments might be.
Well, I appreciate you coming.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to echo that. Thank you very much for coming. I apologize for the long wait that you experienced. I apologize for, I am very sorry that you've had to wait. Transitioning to an upgraded system is a challenge, as I'm sure, and I have found many customers that I've spoken with directly who have experience with upgraded systems in other industries, and they say, I know exactly what you're talking about. They just do not roll out without some glitches. That said, again, I'm sorry for the experience that you've had. I very much appreciate what you've said about our staff, because you observed and that they are working very hard, that they are trying very hard, that in spite of very challenging conditions, they are as professional as can be. I quite honestly am amazed when I see them leaving at night and most of them still have a smile on their face, and I have done everything I can to thank them in various ways for being troopers and for hanging in here during a challenging time. The go live date was late in October. We did have to pause some of the functions that you were used to because of issues with the go live. You know, that we saw that some things were not exactly the way we wanted them. We did pause some of the mailings that we do, primarily to people who are billed by plate, but you're not in that category. You're an Easy Pass customer. But when we did resume invoicing, which I know you must have been in here very recently. Was it last week?
Yeah.
Okay, so we did resume invoicing, and when we did resume invoicing, we were finding that not only were our bill by plate customers receiving invoices, but also our Easy Pass customers were receiving invoices because for one reason or another, their account was no longer in good standing, their Easy Pass account. That may not have been on you at all, but for whatever time had passed for some people between October and now, their credit card was no longer good. Either it had expired or whatever. A license plate was not on the account, and the system was not connecting that plate to an Easy Pass account. There were all different reasons, but the invoices were going, much of the invoicing that we did recently that generated all this business, both here in the walk-in center down the hall and also on the phones and on the internet, much of it was generated by issues that the system identified with Easy Pass accounts. You probably don't want to hear about silver linings in this cloud, but I will tell you that we do see one of them is that many Easy Pass accounts that had issues are now being addressed. Those issues are being fixed, and the fixes will serve the customers well. We don't see that, we think that in the months ahead there'll be far less of a need for you to contact us or come to the walk-in or go to AAA or wherever you do your tolling business, because while it's been very painful, it is getting a lot of our accounts in good standing. We did put in a queue management system that you probably saw. It looks like the one maybe when you go to the Verizon store and you see the, you go in and they say, what's your name? And then you see your name up on the screen. And, for me, it would say Lori S. and maybe I'm number 2 in the queue, because some of our customers had been saying we're waiting out in the cold. It was the colder months, it was rainy, we're waiting outside. And so we put in a queue management system. It's taking us some time to get customers to trust that system. They think if they go wait in their cars that they'll be passed over in line. They want to be standing there to make sure that no one passes them over that no one cuts them in the line. We do have someone, as you saw, because you watched it for several hours, so you know that we have several people who are managing the lines. In addition to the people that are sitting there waiting on the people that are here, we have the rest of the staff on the phones, on the internet, trying to deal with these issues. Much of what you said is spot on. We did have some glitches in the system, and we did need time. We paused sending out invoices. You mentioned that you like to seeing invoices. We paused it in part because we decided that that seeing incorrect invoices was worse than we didn't want to send out incorrect invoices. It was worse than sending none at all. So we paused that. Again, another, and I don't offer this as an excuse at all, and I want you to know what you've said is on the money. But we also know that in spite of the fact that it's been a bumpy rollout, we know of other E-ZPass agencies that have had much bumpier rollouts. That's of no consolation to you or even to me. But I offer it just to say that a transition to a new system is going to have its glitches. The reason we upgraded is to give the customers some of the things they wanted. And we were sending out invoices that were by toll transactions. So a bill by plate customer could come home to a stack of mail. One of the features of the new system is consolidated billing. So I know you said you had 15 transactions in previous months. But at 83, you're a Rhode Island resident?
Yes, those were toll violations.
Okay, and one of the things I haven't mentioned yet is that we knew that we were going to encounter some issues. So we went into this with the idea of being very lenient, that we would work with customers. We know that if you receive a bill for many tolls at a time, for some it may be easy to pay. They know they went over the bridge. They know they have to pay. It's 83 cents if you're a resident. But for some people to get hit with them all at once after a period of time when we've paused the invoicing is an issue, and we knew that. So we are being lenient in dealing with customers. So Katie, I'll let you or Jamie both speak to anything else, but the customer service study is ongoing, and much of the work is done. We're now waiting for the company to return to us their findings, and we'll act on those findings. So we did move forward very quickly with that study, and we hope that the result will be a better experience for you next time.
Thank you, Laura.
Sure, and I can just speak to the notifications. They have been going out. Initially, when we first transitioned, some people did not get the notifications whether your balance was low, negative, your credit card declined. We did kind of a one-time hot fix moving forward. So there were some people in a population that did not get the notification. And that is all noted in history. So for people like you whose account did get drained, as you said, and you created these violations unknowingly, we are waiving the violations for that. We can see everything in the history that it was suppressed. As Lori mentioned, there were glitches in the system, bugs. It was sending out some older notifications from previous years. So we did pause it. Those have been resumed for months now. So that is going. The statements are the last piece that really need to come on board. Again, Lori and I discussed sending out erroneous information was the last thing that we wanted to do. So there is an issue with the statements with the running balance that the IT people are working on, And we hope to release that within the next week or so, and get everybody back on board.
And I don't,
Someone with an 866 area code. MO today, April 9th,
I know
is your
when you
last opportunity
mentioned
to
that
have
you
your
were not able
concealed
to add
carry
a credit card
license.
on file,
Get it in
since
15
you
minutes
have to
before.
make funds, if I could get your contact information, or after this meeting, I don't know if you're staying for the whole meeting, I would like to sit with you to help you update your credit card. I'm gonna address everything on your account to make sure everything is all set on your account moving forward. I do appreciate you coming in today to mention this. This is really great to hear the feedback of the customers. We've gotten a lot of feedback from the customers, and I do think your concerns are definitely 100% valid, so I thank you for coming forward and echoing it. But I would like to sit with you, go over your account to make sure your credit card is updated, so you don't have to,
Well, I'm not
maintain
gonna
it.
put my credit card on right now because I
Okay.
don't trust it.
That's
So
fine.
I'm gonna wait until everything
Okay.
is fixed before I put my credit card on, so thank you very much.
Yeah, no, not a
So for
problem.
now, I'm just gonna do the cash.
Okay.
Until I really know that this is.
You've mentioned something that was in the back of my head that didn't come out of my mouth, though, that I do want to mention. One of the new features of the system is an IVR, an enhanced IVR system that's enhanced cybersecurity for credit card transactions. We pride ourselves on the fact that we have, knock on wood, cybersecurity is a priority for us. We're constantly doing what they call penetration testing. We make certain that that our accounts are not breached. So one of the features of this new system is called IVR, which is an additional layer of protection for your credit card. So I want you to know that when you do put it back, the other option you have in the new system is your bank account. Some people prefer that.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Okay.
And
It's
that kind of leads a little bit into the final, I don't want to take up any more of your time. A final thing, I guess again, coming from where I am in social service, the digital divide is real. I think there's a lot of people who are in industry right now who don't think that there's a digital divide. And I will tell you, I know for a fact that some of my clients might have over $1,000 in toll violations. Because with the rollout of this, from the toll booth to, these are people who are really on the margins in Newport. When the overhead thing, booths went and the overhead thing came in, a lot of people aren't tuned into that. They're not even tuned into even what's going on. And the elderly as well. And so I appreciate the fact that you're being lenient because I know we work with clients, for example, on utility bills. There is a way out of, when it gets up like that, when you're talking about an electric bill of $2,000, there's a way out of that for a client without an energy. So I appreciate, maybe that's something to think about in the customer service, the contract you just awarded, to be thinking about if a customer gets, one of my clients, gets into a situation and they have $2,000-$3,000 in fine, how are they gonna get out of that?
Yep.
Because I don't know if that results in a license suspension. Trying to work with Newport, City of Newport right now in the license restoration program. We have a lot of people who are running around with suspended license.
Could we come and speak to your clients, and try to talk them into a transponder, because 83 cents beats $6
Right.
every day of the week and twice on Sundays. So
But even in your, talking about the management system with the app on the phone and all that, people aren't doing it. I mean, there's just eventually, I think everybody will be, I don't know, when 20, 30 years, everybody will be on these, everything will be digital. But we're not there. We're not there. And I just want to say that, I say that all the time on behalf of my clients, it's too complicated. And most of my job is trying to unwind what has happened in cyberspace, because they're not tuned in. They have a little bit on their phone, a lot of times it's a government phone, but they're not tuned into account. I could easily go on my account, to get in and change the password and all of that. That's difficult. So anyway, I just wanted to, that was part of my reason for coming as well, and I appreciate the fact that you are being lenient in this transition times. It's really important.
And just to comment on some of your plans and bills, we work out payment plans all the time.
Okay.
So we would love it if they just come in and sit down and.
They come back over with.
That's
them.
good.
They accompany them, and we try to work things out.
So So we do it here in person without the court system, and we do also go to traffic tribunal once they get to a certain level,
Uh-huh.
but we do not suspend licenses.
Okay.
Okay, so we don't have that in our legislation. If they fail to appear to court or something like that, that's a little different.
Yeah.
But our legislation is currently out DMV hold and non-renewal.
Okay.
And we work out deals with customers all the time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for
We'll
your,
see me again
Thank you.
on
no,
that.
no, you're welcome anytime, thank you.
Again, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any further comments? Hearing none. Do I have a motion to accept the executive session minutes of January 29th, as well as the minutes of the February 26th board meeting? Motion by Peter, second by Karen. Discussion, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. Next is the Citizens Pell Bridge Run. Laurie?
That's me. So, annually, the Turnpike and Bridge Authority permits the Rhode Island Turnpike Foundation, which is not affiliated with the Turnpike and Bridge Authority, to hold a charitable run, walk over the Newport Pell Bridge for the benefit of nonprofit organizations. Citizens has traditionally sponsored that, so it's usually, it's the Citizens Pell Bridge Run, and the foundation has in the past engaged Gray Matter Marketing to handle the event. They handle several events in this area, including other runs, I believe one in Narragansett. On advice of council, several years ago, we started to have a formal license agreement with the foundation that sets forth the rights and responsibilities of each of the parties since they're using our property. We recommend that the board authorize me to execute the license agreement for the October 2025 Pell Bridge Run in the form attached here too. And I would just note that the most important part of that agreement obviously is the indemnification to make certain that we are not liable for anything that may happen during that. It's a tremendous amount of people. It's the only day of the year when we allow people to run and walk over the Pell Bridge. So it's important that we have the rights and responsibilities of the parties spelled out. So.
Peter?
Yes, question, under financial effect, it's left blank. Does that mean that there's none of our employees are involved in that at all? So there's no cost to the authority in any way?
Yeah. Jeff, did you want to answer?
We actually get reimbursed for everything, including overhead rates. So between Jeff, Steve, and Frank, they keep the listing of the people, their hours of work. I add a overhead rate to that. Additionally, I think Jeff uses the FEMA rates for like our F-150. So if that's at $60 an hour, it's used by 3 hours, we get reimbursed. So there's no impact to us.
I don't think I saw that in the agreement, is that?
We invoice them.
Well, I don't think I saw it in the agreement, though, that you get reimbursed.
Maybe it's not in there, I don't know.
Well, I was looking for it and I didn't see it.
Well, we have done that with, we've been doing that for several years. I think we started doing that even before this license agreement
Well,
came.
correct.
And we do it with Save the Bay
Well,
also.
what we can do, though, is in the motion, which we're making, we give the executive director the authority to reach an agreement, and I'm sure
To
that.
include it in the agreement.
And it'll be included in the agreement, okay? And you can work with Joe, put that in there, per the request of Peter, the board. All right?
Sounds good.
Perfect. So we have a motion with that amendment. Do I have a second? We have a second with Charles and Karen. Discussion, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you. Next is the Administration Building HVAC replacement and upgrade.
I'll take that one, thank you. On July 23rd of 24, the Board of Directors approved a task order with AI Engineering in the amount not to exceed $53,098 for design and construction administration services for the replacement of the admin building HVAC system. During this design process, AI suggested that the rooms with very high ceilings, similar to this conference room, but also the other end of the building, should have large ceiling fans installed to increase the circulation of the conditioned air. RIPA staff agreed and requested AI to submit a task amendment to perform the additional design and detailing of the new project elements. AI submitted the attached proposal in the amount not to exceed $8,071. We've reviewed the proposal and consider it reasonable, and we recommend approval to execute tax amendment and fee with AI in the amount not to exceed $8,071.
Do I have a motion? Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Second, discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you, Eric. Next is the Newportville Infra Grant Project, main tower steel repairs, painting, and elevator rehab design and construction support services.
Take that one as well.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. RIPA staff requested WSP, who is the selected consultant for the Newport Pell Infra Grant Project, main tower steel repairs, painting, and elevator rehab, to prepare a task order and fee for design and construction support services for the project. WSP submitted the attached proposal in the amount not to exceed $1,079,902.30. RIPA staff and HDR, who's our program manager, reviewed and negotiated the proposal fee and consider the final version enclosed here to be reasonable. The task order will be shared with Federal Highway with a brief explanation of the review and negotiation process for the concurrence and records. And RIPA staff recommends approval to execute this task order and fee with WSP in the amount not to exceed $1,079,902.30 pending Federal Highway's review and concurrence.
Questions? Discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion? Motion by Peter, seconded by Karen. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Eric.
Sure.
Next is the capital project status report.
Take that again. A lot of stuff to update on, but I'll go quickly. The Phase 2 AET construction outside the windows here is going very well. We should be wrapped up by May 22nd. Some of the items they've been working on most recently is landscaping. You probably see that going on right now. Doing some closure pours on the barriers for the new Structure E Bridge component of the project, and some of the final lighting for the project. The Mount Hope Bridge.
Excuse me, Eric.
Yeah.
Are we still on target for the completion?
Yes, yep. Still on target, May 22nd.
Okay, it's
Yep.
still on. Okay,
Yep.
good.
The Mount Hope Bridge dehumidification project is going out to bid after this board meeting today for the final construction contract. So that's some good news. We finally got through the review process with RIDOT that was required for the earmark funds. So that'll go up today. We'll be putting it out to bid for a 2-month process, just due to the complexity of the project. It'll be about double the normal procurement time that State of Rhode Island has, but it's justified for this project. The chip seal project for Mount Hope Bridge went out to bid. We had a pre-bid yesterday. We had some good attendance from some contractors, so we feel encouraged that we'll get some bids on that project this time. The compression link project is complete. The new compression link is in place. Mohawk did it over a weekend, 2 weekends ago. They're taking down all the scaffolding and the quick deck, and they actually took down the temporary cable already. And then they've got a closure tonight, two-lane closure tonight, where we have to move the barrier so they can pick off the large bracket that's mounted to the tower. They need the room for the crane. So that went really well.
I'd just like to comment that was really successful. That
It really was.
To have it done, that much work done over a weekend with minimum disruption was quite a feat.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't go off without a hitch. We had a couple of challenges during the weekend, but we were all on staff. We were in and out of the project. Jeff and I were in and out, and we had consultants on staff, here present from WSP who were able to help make the project happen. A couple of misaligned holes here and there, core drilling equipment didn't come as promised, so they had to improvise, but in the end, everything went well.
So it was
very
quite
happy.
successful. Yeah.
Very happy with their performance. The program management for the infra project is going well with HDR, helping us out getting through all the final task orders for the design components. The deck design for the infra project, which you've already approved, has started. They've done a deck investigation on all the areas of the deck, the main spans and the approach spans. So we're waiting for those results to come in from Jesse and Masters. The Fishing Pier Access Road Bridge and Jamestown Horizontal Bridge joint replacement project is out to bid. We had a pre-bid for that yesterday, following the Mount Hope Bridge chip seal one. That also was well attended. New roof construction and new HVAC construction for the admin building and roof for the maintenance building are executed, and we're working to get those contracts started. Railing repairs for Newport Bridge is complete, and inspection is ongoing.
Just a
Thank you.
question about the railings.
Yeah,
We're seeking reimbursement. Are we,
we already received it.
Oh, good.
$100,000 from the insurance company.
well, I just brought it up because it had been discussed in previous meetings. And just wanted to confirm that it had been received.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Good, excellent.
Okay. Thank you. Next, financial reports, Jeff?
With respect to year-to-date revenue, while traffic exceeded budget by 4.1%, revenue was lower by $649,000. Lower toll revenue of $922,000 was partially offset by higher gas tax proceeds of $260,000. Toll revenue was lower primarily due to the pause in invoicing for pay-by-plate customers and lower reciprocity payments from away agencies.
Jeff,
And-
just a question about that. Everybody's calling it a pause. Does that mean we're going to catch up on all the previous
We have,
violations that are, or the billing that occurred, license violations?
so all of the older ones have been billed. I just got the new statistics this morning. There's about 30,000 that haven't been billed yet, but that's supposed to be that way. There's, they're billing every 30 days now instead of being due in 14 days for first notices. So these next batch of ones, we are all caught up from the legacy, from what was behind.
So what Jeff was saying about there being, not a loss, but a lower income will be compensated or catch up in the future?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, when I looked
yep.
at violation payments for last month, typically it's an invoice payments, I'm sorry, they're invoice payments now. We're usually collecting between 1 and 1.3 million in invoice payments, which depending on the month, it varies. Last March we closed at just under 900,000, so it's getting back to more normal numbers. When I looked yesterday, for just being a week into April, we were just under 300,000. So I expect that to be back on track and increased.
It just wasn't clear that we
Timing
were
issue.
planning on getting caught
all
up.
time.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, good, good, thank you.
Okay.
And we did see in March, our reciprocity was up about $75,000 from where it normally is, so that we're catching up on that as well. Overall operating expenses were lower than budget by approximately $600,000. The primary drivers were personnel expenses. They were lower by $458,000, primarily due to open positions in maintenance in the customer service departments. Other supplies and expenses were lower by $245,000, primarily due to the lower postage and supplies as a result of the delay in invoicing. Bridge inspections were lower by $187,000, and that's primarily due to the timing of the inspections compared to what I assumed in the budget. And finally, repairs and maintenance were higher by $279,000, primarily due to the costs associated with the 2 accidents. With respect to one of those, we did collect in early April $100,000, and Steve has submitted a claim for $40,000 to the other carrier. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I want to compliment your photography.
Oh, that's,
So that was the
I
deal?
steal those from Kyle, so you can thank Kyle.
This is great, this is really great, that tells a story. It's very good.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Next is the executive director's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So in late March, we received a letter from the National Transportation Safety Board indicating that they had put 68 bridges, I think, nationwide on a list to be further studied for vulnerability to a vessel strike. So of our bridges, this was pursuant to a request that we had received earlier through RIDOT to provide some information on all of our bridges. Of our 4 major bridges, the only one that they targeted as to be included on the list for further study was the Pell. We think that's because of its prominence in the shipping channel. We had, fortunately, when we did receive this letter saying that the government is looking to us to provide some information so that they can further evaluate the vulnerability of the Pell, we had already done a lot of work. In the weeks after the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Maryland was hit and went into the water, we had, I would say, the next 2.5 weeks at least. We did nothing but contact the Coast Guard, convene meetings here with the Pilots Association, attend meetings at the Coast Guard offices in East Providence that were attended by Coast Guard members from Woods Hole, Massachusetts. We did a lot to, some of the information that they sent us to guide us in this assessment. Eric and I took a look at and said, we've already done so much of this. So, however, there are calculations that they are looking for. So we did need to reach out to a consultant. We had on our on-call list, we had Mojeski and Masters. We determined that they have some experience with vulnerability assessments. So given the time constraints, we got them working on this immediately. So we will be responding to the federal government. We are confident that that we are comfortable that our bridge is very different than the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Our situation is different because the Quonset port is not a container port, so we do not have ships the size of the Dali that hit the Francis Scott Key Bridge. There are lots of other differences between our bridge and the Francis Scott Key Bridge, but of course we are going to respond to the NTSB in a timely manner, and we're going to give them whatever they need to know that that we're comfortable, that we've done all we can to make certain that if a vessel were to hit, that we have plans in place for that. So that's that. The transition to the new back office, well, we've already heard enough about that today. I appreciate very much the comments of the person who attended here for public comment. We have resumed invoicing, as I mentioned, and I just want to mention it again. I think when we talked about resuming invoicing, I think we thought that primarily that would be our bill by plate customers, the ones that pay $6 even though they're Rhode Island residents and could pay 83 cents with a transponder. We thought that was our population. However, what we saw last week is that many of the people who came with invoices in hand were Easy Pass customers whose accounts needed attention. And as I say, it's little consolation, but it was the silver lining in the cloud that their accounts are getting the attention they need, and that will serve us all well in the future. We are doing, as you can imagine, we only want happy customers. So we're doing everything possible to make this this transition go in the right direction, and we believe that it's there now. We still have a very high call volume and a very high rate of visitors to the walk-in center. We are open now Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, and the word is out on that. The word is out on that because Tuesdays and Thursdays are as busy as the other three
I
days.
think that's a great step forward.
We do too. However, there's a downside to that, which is on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the staff in the customer service department used to be able to work on sending out transponders, dealing with violations, sending out invoices, responding to the internet requests, responding to all the AAA business that comes to us. They had those days. They were doing work. They just didn't have to be customer facing. So there is a downside to it because now we have to be customer facing and we have to be on the phones and on the internet and everywhere else. We've responded to that in part. We had by hiring. We had 2 new customer service reps start this week, and we're doing everything we can to make this to be back to giving our customers the best experience that they can have.
And the study that's ongoing, when do you expect to have the results of that?
Within weeks.
Okay.
Yep. The company came here, interviewed all of our employees. They are now, they have other aspects of the reports that to incorporate into what they give us back. It was a company that is familiar with back office transitions, which was a big bonus. So I think we will get a report that we can act on to make things better. Image review, there was a backlog, so we recognize that. We have the image review clerks are unionized employees here. That position became a union position when we took away the toll collectors and the booths, and we created image review clerks. We have 5 of them who are unionized employees here. We've supplemented that with a company called Global Agility Services. Again, it was we were in it was an urgent matter, so we've gotten them on board, but we will be talking to you more about them. They are within my authority to at least get them started. We don't see them, we don't see this as a hefty lift financially for the authority at all, but they are supplementing our in-house services on image review of plates. And that seems to be working out well. Customer service initiatives, I already talked about hiring, I talked about the study. The Infra and Protect grants, another fire that that had to be addressed since we last met, which is that we have been expecting the infra money and the protect money. The protect money is for the Mount Hope. The infra money is for the multi-phase project on the Pell. We're expecting that money. We're still expecting that money, but of course everybody's been watching the news, and suddenly federal funding was frozen. We acted quickly. We needed help in Washington. We have been working with a federal governmental specialist. He has helped us to some extent in February, March, and April. I will be coming back to the board with a formal contract for some, whether it's this person or someone else, because we do need to comply with procurement, and we will be going out to see who else is out there that would like to make a proposal to us to help us make certain that we retain this money that we're depending on to get these projects done. So that will appear on the May board meeting after we put out an advertisement that complies with the State Procurement Act. And the next board meeting is May 14th. It is the annual meeting, and I will just remind you that that includes election of officers. So I think that's it. Thank you.
Any comments? Yes, sir.
Just a question, any update on roadworks at all?
There's been no update since the decision of the First Circuit Court of Appeals. Right now there are still court proceedings, but on the very limited issue of who was the prevailing party, believe it or not. It's a very interesting legal issue, because each side is claiming that it was the prevailing party and should have its fees and costs paid by the other side. So that's where it stands in court. In terms of resuming the truck tolling program, we first have to know what the program will be before we can obtain a scope of services from any of the consultants that were involved when we were doing truck tolling for RIDOT years back, before Judge Smith enjoined us from continuing.
So that require legislation to get to that point?
I have heard Speaker Shikarchi say that it would be the end of the session before we know what the tolling program will look like. So that's what we are awaiting guidance as to what the program will look like, and we need to know what that program will look like before we could help DOT and act again as their agent, which is what we did the last time.
Customer service of that program.
Good. No, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Further questions, discussions? Hearing none. Motion to adjourn. Motion, seconded. Everyone have a great day.